History of hip-hop. How should we start this off? Want to do a little rap?
No. No, I do not.
Hip-hop traces its roots back to the 1970s in New York City, specifically in the Bronx with young African Americans. It started as a sort of voice for the less fortunate, disenfranchised youth of the area.
DJs and block parties would play the popular soul and funk music of the time. The beats in popular songs that were especially percussive became even more popular, and the DJs began picking them out and playing them separately for the crowds.
DJ Kool Herc is considered the first man to popularize isolating hip-hop beats. Because these percussive beats in the soul and funk songs were so short, DJs began using 2 turntables instead of 1 to make them longer. Turntable techniques such as scratching and beat mixing were introduced during this period as well, and produced bass rhythms that would later be what rappers used as the platforms for their lyrics.
Rapping wasn't started at the same time as hip-hop, but most hip-hop is accompanied with rap lyrics. Bronx-born MC Shaw Rock is credited as the first female to perform a rap with her group, the Funky 4+1.
Rap itself derives from African chants and music, but poetry slams with musical accompaniment in the post-civil rights culture helped give way to the social environment from which hip-hop stemmed.
Hip-hop was influenced by disco as well as shaped by a desire to get away from the style. As most musical styles have evolved in a direct rebellion of the popular styles, hip-hop was no different.
The 1980s saw the development of rap to a more complex genre. The 808 kick drum also became popular during this time and is still used by hip-hop producers to this day.
Before the 1980s, hip-hop was confined to the US, but DJ Greg Wilson was the first to bring electro-hip-hop to UK clubs. B-boying also was the first hip-hop culture to reach Japan, Australia, and South Africa.
In 1983 to 84, new school hip-hop started with artists most of us are more familiar with like Run DMC and LL Cool J. This also became popular in New York City and had more of a rock influence. It was more known for the taunts and brags as well as social and political commentary delivered in an aggressive and assertive style.
By 1986, hip-hop became solidified as a mainstream genre.
The first hip-hop album to reach #1 on the Billboard charts was the Beastie Boys album Licensed to Ill.
From the mid-1980s to the mid-1990s is what is known as hip-hop's golden age. It is a time differentiated from others by its diversity, quality, and innovation, as well as the influence it had on the public.
MTV's Sway Calloway adds, "The thing that made the era so great is that nothing was contrived. Everything was still being discovered and everything was still innovative and new." Gangsta Rap is a subgenre of hip-hop that is particularly violent and chronicles the difficulties in the lives of inner-city black youths. It was pioneered in the 80s by artists such as Ice-T and Schooly D.
Ice-T and DWA popularized this genre of rap, and it became one of the most lucrative subgenres in the style. These lyrics were more openly violent, controversial, and shocking. NWA's album Straight Outta Compton was the first super popular gangsta rap album that established West Coast rap as a contender for the traditionally New York strong style rap.
The song on the album, F the Police, was so controversial that the FBI's assistant director wrote them a letter letting them know how much they resented the song.
The year 1990 brought an even more mainstream breakthrough, being called the year hip-hop exploded. Time magazine said, "Rap is the rock and roll of the day. Rock and roll was about attitude, rebellion, and big beat, sex, and sometimes social comment."
In the mid-1990s, it became the best-selling genre, and MC Hammer became one of the first household names in the genre with his song, "You Can't Touch This."
Early 90s also introduced us to Snoop Dogg, now Snoop Lion, of course, and Dr. Dre. In 1999, hip-hop was the top-selling genre, not just the best-selling, with 81 million CDs sold.
The Wu-Tang Clan basically dominated the genre artistically during this time as well. Record labels in Atlanta, New Orleans, and St. Louis gained popularity and fame too.
White rappers have a hard time gaining acceptance, so the success of Eminem's first album in 1999 was a surprise to many.
In the 2000s and 2010s, Dr. Dre stayed prevalent and Eminem skyrocketed. 50 Cent's first album was produced by Dr. Dre in 2003 and debuted at #1 on the charts. Crunk also became popular with Lil Jon and the Yin Yang Twins. In 2005, the sales of hip-hop began to plummet, with many calling it maybe hip-hop dying, but it has remained a popular genre despite the falling record sales. Kanye West and Jay-Z created artistically hip-hop albums that encouraged other artists to take greater risks with their music.
The reason for the lack of sales has been hard to pinpoint, especially since artists like Flo Rida have mainstream success but don't have sales that represent the popularity. One reason is perhaps the ease with which music can be illegally downloaded.
Remember to buy your music, whether or not you think it actually supports the artist. It's just the honest thing to do. So let us know, what's your favorite hip-hop song? Write it down in the comments below.
Like, subscribe, and tweet us your suggestions for future videos. Click this annotation to see all the topics we've covered so far. See you every Monday and Friday. I'm Ashley.
I'm Brittany, and this is Honors Grad U.